This series is basically what happens when you leave your bored mom at home with Wattpad on, and she makes like really bad fan fiction. Hi everyone, it's Krisha from Third World Book Nerd, your favorite Filipino booktuber who hardly makes any content on her channel. Today I'm actually breaking my streak and am filming one video. This is all about the popular books that I don't like, so stay tuned. Chess. If you're new to this channel, this is where we talk about books and reading and all the trials and tribulations about being a third world book nerd. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it a lot. A lot. If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. I'd really appreciate it, and so will my titos, titas, lolos, lolas, and our silingans here in our neighborhood. I know lots of folks make a lot of disclaimers for videos like these, but I'm just gonna make one, and that's for us to be adults. Let's agree to disagree. What might be trash for me might be treasure to some, and vice versa. And that's okay. We just all have different tastes, and sometimes there are just popular books that we don't like. Okay, I've made my speech. You can all sit down now, and let's just get into the video. First on my list is the notorious Twilight Saga by Stephanie Meyer. Or is it Meyer? Meyer or Meyer? Anyway, that book about vampires. This was a huge hit some years back, and everybody loved it. Like, they were going crazy. They talked about it all the time, and they even said that it surpassed Harry Potter's records. And so naturally I was curious about the book. I read it. I really did truly try to understand where the general public was coming from. I wanted to understand why they were raving about Edward Cullen and what was the name of Taylor Lautner's character? Shark Boy? Yeah, that one. And I tried to read it, and I just didn't like it. I really ended up not being engaged to this story at all. I did not find the characters very engaging. The plot, I didn't even really get to dig super deep into the plot because I couldn't get past the first chapter because the story was so dull for me. The storytelling was so soupy, the pace was draggy, and I just couldn't get past it. Ultimately, I ended up using the book as a mousepad for when I did my homework. And as well, I wasn't really keen on sparkly vampires who watched me while I was going to sleep. So that's that. This next book shouldn't come as a surprise. I did not like Twilight as a teenager, and so it follows that I also do not like 50 Shades of Grey as an adult. This series is basically what happens when you leave your mom at home with Wattpad on the computer, and she makes like really bad fan fiction. And it's just smut, and it's not even the fun kind of smut. I did not find this series romantic at all, and like Twilight, the storytelling is just all over the place, if there was any story to be had at all. No, Anastasia, I do not want to know whether or not your inner goddess is doing the samba. So there's that. So me, Twilight, and 50 Shades, no go. Nope. This next one may come as a surprise because these are super popular books and they seem to be universally liked. And sometimes I give this impression to people that I like these types of books, but honestly I don't. These are Nicholas Sparks books. Yes, okay, fine, there, I said it. I don't like Nicholas Sparks. Unlike the first two, I really tried to power through these books. I wanted to like them because I saw this movie called A Walk to Remember, and I really loved it. It was like the Fault in Our Stars movie of my generation. So children, now you know. So I did try my best to get my hands on as many Nicholas Sparks books that I could get. I think I've already read A Walk to Remember, The Notebook, Message in a Bottle, Dear John, what have you, and each and every time I would just end up being so disappointed at how boring these books were. This is one of the rare cases where the movie is actually way better than the book, and I'm not even kidding. Like, for example, in A Walk to Remember, all the things that made Jamie and Landon so good and special in the movie were not present in the book at all. Not to mention that these books like go out of their way to be super cheesy, like Eden cheese, cheese whiz, mozzarella, 4-cheese Whopper cheesy. And sometimes you get this feeling that the characters are merely like plot devices. I don't know, they all do these stupid things in the name of furthering the plot. You get me? Like, I don't understand why they have to do that. It just, these books are just like an excuse to make really sappy love stories set in the American South or something like that. So, sorry Nicholas Sparks lovers, I just can't get my head around these books. If I was doing a Marie Kondo, he'd be like out. Get it? Because he doesn't spark joy. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm so lucky I have my own channel, because if this was aired in another channel, I mean like, people will hate me. But anyway, I don't know if I have an aversion for all things lovey-dovey, but this next one flows in the same vein, let's just say. It's books by Lang Lieb. I know they're so popular, especially here in the Philippines. Like, everybody loves these books. Like, the author came here multiple times already. She made a poem for a TV couple here. They are super wildly popular, and unfortunately I just can't get on the bandwagon. People seem to love Insta poetry like these because they really, I guess, hit them with feels, especially like the younger generations, the teenagers.
Di pwede na magbisaya, kay Bisaya man ta. Ano sa'yo ang favorite nga libro?
Daghan, pero ang author jud kay silang Liv.
Oo, ganaan ka nilang live, nga naman, kay...
Kay gana gusto yung mga poetries.
Ma-touch imong heart.
Now, from her interviews, I know that the author is coming from a really good place. I think what she wants to do is to make poetry accessible to everyone. She wants to quash that idea that poetry is intimidating and inaccessible and obscure. So that's what she wants to do. She wants to introduce poetry as something that everybody can access, and I think that's great. If her poetry moved you somehow and opened this avenue for other poets and other types of poetry out there, then that's good for you. But for me, it just doesn't, like Nicholas Sparks, it doesn't spark joy in me at all. Personally, I want poetry to have rhyme and rhythm and imagery. Like, hit me in the feels with a lyrical combination of words. Give me my Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, or Pablo Neruda, or Emily, or Elizabeth Browning, or Edgar Allan Poe. My biggest gripe with these internet age poets is that a lot of them, and I'm not talking about Lang Lieb in herself, but like for internet poets in general, I just don't get why they write prose and then just format it as stanzas and then just pass them off as poetry. I do not understand that. Sometimes, for example, there are these writers who just write like hugot lines and then pass it off as poetry. I don't understand that. I know I'm rambling, but in general, I just don't get their drift. It's just not me, I guess. But yeah, that's just me as well. Again, if that type of poetry sparked any feelings in you, then good for you. To each his own. For me, I just personally don't understand the hype, and I can't get myself to like it. As it is, most of my favorite poets are either dead or are in rock bands, so again, there's that. Okay, let's move on. Up next, we have Divergent. Sorry guys, I know this one's really popular, and unfortunately for me, I only have room for 2 dystopian novels in my heart. The first one is The Hunger Games, and the second one is The Giver by Lois Lowry. The Hunger Games is action-packed, while The Giver is more philosophical, and I think that Divergent is just like a duplication or an iteration of The Hunger Games. Personally, I think that if you've read one dystopian novel, you've read them all. It's the same setting, just different names in different situations, and ultimately it's all about like toppling the powers that be, adventure ensues, that kind of thing, and my brain can only handle so much. But don't worry, Divergent, it's not you, it's me. I also did not bother reading other dystopian stuff like The Maze Runner. I really tried getting into the Maze Runner hype, but I can't get past their jargon. It was so confusing, so I DNF'd it. The Red Queen just didn't get on that train as well, so don't feel bad. You're not the only one. Ooh, this next one is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I know this one's a screenplay, but it's published as a book, so it still counts. I don't have any problem with the writing itself because, again, it's written for the stage, not necessarily for readers. But the story, like, I don't get it. Why do you have to do this? It's just like bad fan fiction for me. Personally, anything after book 7 is not canon for me. I just really wish that Tita JK would stop messing around with these characters that we all know and love. Sometimes I feel like she's destroying my childhood. Tita, stop na. Stop na please. Shudi na. Ayaw na. Stop it. Stop unraveling canon. The first few parts of The Cursed Child was cute. Like, we were introduced again to Harry, Ron, and Hermione and all these characters that we loved. But as the story went on, I just kind of felt like, no, this isn't right. Like, why do you have to do this? This shouldn't be happening. It really is just bad fan fiction, and personally, I'd rather read my favorite Dramione series any day instead of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Next one, we have Warcross. This one's a popular duology by Marie Lu. The concept was good, the characters were interesting, and I really loved how she did the world building, but ultimately what threw me off was the suspenseful part. I guess the book was marketed as action-adventure, YA thriller kind of thing, and I just couldn't feel the thriller part of it all. Like, half the time, I knew who the villain was, and so that really made the twist in the end very underwhelming. So I really didn't catch on to the hype of this book. It really had nice covers though. It also has a similar feel and plot to Ready Player One. I haven't read the book though, so I really can't make solid comparisons. But if the movie was any indication, I think I like Ready Player One better. Tuloy-tuloy tayo sa jackpot round. I have a mic. This isn't mine. I just found it lying around, and so I tried to use it. So, oh my gosh, Just One Day by Gail Forman. I read it till the end because I really wanted to know where the story would go. And if I'm being honest, I also liked the setting of the story. It was very cinematic. I loved how the author portrayed all the places that they went to. There were some parts that were actually good about this book, but what my brain can't process is the whole insta-love premise. Like, I do not get insta-love at all. Would you go to Paris with this virtual stranger, spend one day with him, and then spend the rest of the year like pining over him and falling into a pit of depression? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. All throughout the book, I was just questioning, has this girl not seen Taken? This is how people end up dead or being human trafficked. I'm really more of a slow burn, long haul, rational love story kind of girl, so all these whirlwind romance novels just don't sit right with me. I don't know if it's just my upbringing or my background, but reading the book, I really couldn't help but feel that this character is like the most entitled character that I have ever encountered ever. All throughout the book, I was just questioning, girl, what is wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? May gani, nakadto kas France, wakay IELTS, waka ni bayad visa. waka nangutang og kwarta pang palarga nimo nya karon maghilak-hilak ka diha kay gibyaan ka to imong kakuyog for just one day nya karon kay na cray na ka. Ako kay murag what? Why? I don't get it. Yung tag gipaampon ka or like gibiyaan ka sa imong true love nga kanang kaila na gid nimo forever, pero kani kay one day ra sila nagkaila nya nasad gid siya maayo sabot do murag okay. Anyway, you know it's getting serious when I start switching to Bisaya. So that's my take on Gail Forman's Just One Day. If you like that book, can you leave a comment and tell me why? I would love some enlightenment. Last but not the least, we have Catcher in the Rye. I know it's a beloved classic. I know it's the OG coming-of-age tale. I know you think that everyone should read this, but if I'm being honest, I just really ended up being confused half the time I was reading this novel. It's like Holden was speaking an entirely different language that whole entire time. And I couldn't concentrate on the book story or plot because I was too busy trying to figure out what he's saying. Lots of people make comparisons with Holden Caulfield and Toru Watanabe from Haruki Murakami's Norwegian Wood. I just recently read Norwegian Wood and I really loved it, and so I think I'm just gonna have to reread Catcher in the Rye to see if I can understand it better now that I'm, a bit older. So that's it, everyone. Just a short list of popular books that I unfortunately don't like. Again, some of the books here may be your favorites, and some of them may not be your favorites either. The point of this video was just to show that we all have differences as readers. So different people, different tastes, different perspectives on different books. And don't you think that's amazing that you're reading the same material but you interpret it in different ways, or you have different feelings or opinions about them? So I think that's awesome. If you have any popular books that you don't super like, please leave a comment down below and let's discuss. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't have a cool outro, but again, if you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment if you have any violent reactions, clarifications, and the like. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!